when it comes to as simply as when the child is born. In some of the communities, and I'll give example of the Kikuyu communities, when a child is born, there's these ululations that go up to announce the gender of a child to the rest of the community. You know, the midwives are inside the home, but the rest of the people outside need to know what's the gender of a child that has been born. So for a boy child, they give him 5 ululations. For the girl child, she's given 4. Who chose that the boy gets 5 and the girl gets 4? So it starts from, right at birth. The girl grows up. When it comes to nowadays we're more advanced in terms of wanting all our children to go to school. So generally each family will want their children to go to school. But when things get tough, when they can't afford school fees for all the children, what do? They tell the girl, you stay at home, we will educate your brother, because anyway, you're going to be married off. So we don't need to put too much education on you. So she already grows up with that feeling of insecure, not very well valued. She gets married to this husband. How is she treated in her matrimonial home? You're an outsider, you're an outcast. Sometimes, and unfortunately, should her husband die, some of them get chased away. You don't belong to this home. I have a case when we did training in Mathare. Mathare is one of the slum areas in Nairobi. And I came across a lady who had been, she was married, then her husband passed on. So as soon as her husband passed on, the brothers-in-law came, chased her away, took some of the children, the male children, left her to go with the girls, her daughters, and she had nowhere to go because she had come from a very poor family. I think she was an orphan from her side. So even marrying this young man, I think, was for her a way of getting some stability. But he dies and she's chased away. So in slums, by the way, I discovered, and you may have seen this when you go, slums are divided. There's a good part of the slums, there's a middle class part of the slum, and there is a poor of a slum. And that is where she was staying. Yeah. So, that has been the plight of the girl child or for the woman. And that is now how, as CMS Africa, we felt that we needed to, come up and support these girl child or these women who are both in the city. That was a city setting, but it's a city setting within the slum. But you'll find the same challenges in a rural area. Our training doesn't only go to the vulnerable, because one time we said we do the vulnerable, and a woman from the fairly middle class says, I'm also vulnerable in my own setting. Vulnerability does not equate to economic status. So our training also goes to ladies or women. It cuts across the economic status or the social status, and we get to engage with all of them. Yeah. So the thread and the challenges facing women is the same, starting from right up the north of Africa down to the south. And that's why now our material comes in very well. Yeah, it suits whatever the situation. Yeah.
So what does the training actually involve to meet those challenges?
Okay. Based from what I had mentioned, is that women or young girls come from a disadvantaged situation. They are struggling with issues of identity. So our training the first chapter or the first topic that we address when we have said the opening prayer and we've gotten into the gist of the training is issues of, is a question. We ask the question, who am I? Yeah. Because when you ask that question, like when you're in a training and you pose it to the women, you'll get all sorts of answers of who am I. So we help them address that. And the main focus of that chapter is to make them see and realize that you are a special creation. God made you in His image, the way He has made the rest of mankind. So you hold a special place in God's heart and in God's eyes. Don't worry, about what has happened to you, or how the world has treated you or how the world has seen you. You just need to realize that you are a special being. You've been created. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. So that's what we try and bring forth. Then, of course, being in Africa, we must address the issues of culture, which are very, 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 very heavy. And the other day, we had a training where we met some widows, a group of widows, and most of their husbands had died from HIV and AIDS. And the vernacular term for a widow in that community, loosely translated, means that you're tied to the grave. And when you're tied to the grave, it is only when you're inherited by another man, it could be a brother, it could be a cousin, it could be somebody from the village, then are you untied from that grave. So when you're untied, this whole inheritance thing is what has brought the HIV and AIDS prevalence, especially in that community. So those are cultural things that we have to remove from them and make them see things from a biblical worldview. So we also incorporate some of the Samaritan strategy, biblical view, worldview trainings in the next chapter. And then we will build on, things like how do you look after yourself, something just to give them a bit of esteem and ego. So we will have topics on health and nutrition, because as women, that is very important. And then we will have topics on family relations, because a woman is a woman, a girl is a girl. So family relations always comes in. And then we will have topics on group setting, developing groups, because ideally what we want to do is lift up the woman or the girl up to a place where she's confident, where she has a good self-esteem and a good identity is strong. Then now from there, transition her to giving her skills to be able to, make some little money for herself if she's alone, or for herself and her family. So the next part of the training will involve topics on financial planning, both at a personal level and for the small business that you're going to be running. There'll be something on entrepreneurship, record keeping, and bookkeeping and record keeping. And then we'll have a little bit on sales and marketing. How do you, where do you position your goods? Who do you sell to? And again, referring to one of the trainings that we have had before, there was a woman who was selling groundnuts. And we asked her, this groundnuts that you're selling, why did you decide that you're going to sell them where you're selling? And she says, I don't know. I just woke up and I said, this is a place. So we asked her, how much are you making, from being in that place? And then within the group also, and we really love it when this member is struggling and another member from the group is the one telling her, oh, no, you shouldn't be there. There's a school near that's a bit like 2 kilometers from where you are. Don't stand there. Go and stand next to the school. I stand next to the school where I'm selling my groundnuts. And it makes, it gives more profit, because you have a stream of students, children passing by, parents passing by, teachers passing by. So it will increase your sales, and that is really, really uplifting when you see it coming, from the group members, each helping one another. So that's why we have a little bit of, sales and marketing and presentation when you're doing your small business. So yeah, and then of course after that, group formations, that you can be able to raise capital amongst yourselves, and be accountable to each other, and then, you know, move on from there and grow your businesses or whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah.
Is there somebody who comes to mind from a training that really exemplifies what the training can do? Whose story you could tell us?
Yes, and that will be a lady who was trained in Rorya. Rorya is in Tanzania, on the border of Kenya and Uganda, on the western side. When the training was first done, she just came because her bishop had said there's a training that is being offered by CMS Africa and we need to mobilize women to come and attend. So she came grudgingly the first time. In fact, she said she came late. Yeah, you know, because, oh, it's my bishop, I'm not so sure I really need this. But she came late, sat down through, we normally do it for 3 days. She sat down through the first day and she thought, oh, this is good. So the next day, she was the first one to come. And the third day, she still continued coming. So because after the training, we normally ask them, what are you going to do? What are some of the things that you're going to start doing immediately after you have learned this? And for her, she took two things. One was to start attending Bible study more seriously, the fellowship, being involved more actively in the Mothers Union activities. Thirdly was to start taking her children seriously. You know, before she used to feel that these are a bother, you know, and just letting them loose without the motherly affection. So she would start doing that, you know, taking seriously what they're doing in school, the academics, just, you know, nurturing them. She would start doing that. And then fourthly, she would start a business of rearing goats. That was her commitment after the end of the training. So we went back again after, just to assess and see what, you know, the effects or the outcomes of the training. And oh my, it was such joy to see. She stuck to it. She stuck to what she had said she would do. In fact, now we're being told, the other women who had not participated in the training were asking, what did you do to her? What did you tell her? She has really transformed. Even us, please tell us what you told us. You know, tell us what you told her. Yeah, because suddenly she's vibrant, she's engaged, she's staunch in business. Her goats have multiplied. She sells them in the market. Her house is clean and tidy. And that is what keeps me going. In fact, I keep saying, you know, having two roles in the office and also coordinating the women's program. Every time I go to the field, that is when I get my best hope and my best purpose of continuing what you continue to do.